one thing I figured out. It's much better to take cuttings and overwinter them instead of seeding them from seeds, because then when they can go out, they are already bigger and have a kickstart. They produce about 6 to 8 weeks earlier than when you grow them from seeds. And in South Africa and South America, they're perennial. But here, of course, if you have a warm greenhouse, you can keep them over winter. But I just take cuttings, side shoots, and put them in soil. They root very easily.
Is that a flower on one of them?
Oh yeah, they're blooming already. And the hummingbirds love it. Yeah, I've just seen a hummingbird yesterday. See, they have already quite a few flowers here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this works quite well. And last year I could freeze about 12 pounds, which is quite nice. And ate a lot, and I love this fruit. It's really good. And I encourage people to grow it because when you buy them, they're so expensive. Last year I saw them in the store, 100 grams for $3. I mean, hey, can you imagine 12 pounds that I froze? Lots of money. So it's really good, yeah. And that's such a delicious fruit. Really. And if people want seeds, I've got thousands. Yeah, easy. But also I can give people cuttings if they want to keep them over winter. So I really like to share my things.
Yeah, I'll try one and see what happens.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So, let's see, now you also got some broccoli and...
I just planted some purple sprouting broccoli, which I had no idea that you can get it here. When I was in England in 1955, we had it in the garden, and I loved it. You could eat all summer and all winter almost. And then I forgot the name and I couldn't remember. And then I saw at the nursery purple sprouting broccoli. I said, that's it. And of course I had to buy it right away. So
is that also what's in the Rime tent there?
No. In the Rime I have my spinach and my beets, because so I avoid the leaf miner, which goes in spinach and leaves of beetroots, and then you can't eat them when they're full of, all gone. And I always have some cabbage in there, the giant cabbage. This is the German one that can grow up to 40 pounds.
Well, what did you roll it out of here?
Yeah, well, I never got it so big. My biggest one in the Signage Fair 2 years ago was 27 pounds. It was a big cabbage.
How big is that?
Well, it's about that tall. It's like a cone. It's beautiful. Yeah. It's grown in Germany, in South Germany, especially for sauerkraut. It's a very mild flavor. It's very good for sauerkraut. And I make my own sauerkraut, of course.
So you must invite the neighbors over for sauerkraut to have so much.
Yeah, well, I need a lot for myself. That's good. Yeah, I always share, of course. Always do. But yeah, it's fun. And I mean, the problem is growing my food for all year round, which I do. It's a full-time job. And getting older, it gets a bit tricky. Sometimes I need some help. Doesn't work quite as well anymore. But I'm still doing okay. And working outside keeps you fit. It's good.
Well, you got all the beds made, so all the hard work.
Yeah, well, that was 22 years ago when I moved in. I started from scratch. And now with raised beds, it's quite good. And a few years ago, I decided to sacrifice one bed for asparagus. Now I can't rotate anymore. So this is gone. But it's okay. Rotating in a small garden is a bit tricky.
And you got strawberries over there. I know under a lot of netting. Is that for birds?
I made a little cage with wire because otherwise the birds are in it. Yeah. So that helps.
And what variety of strawberries are you growing?
Well, there are some everbearing and some, I think they're called, totem. Totem, yeah.
Those are ones that lifted off the
ground? They grow rather tall, and
so
they don't like, they don't get dirty.
Yeah. How do you deal with the slugs that might get some?
Well, this is one thing. Believe it or not, every time it rains or it has been raining, I'm out there for an hour or two picking slugs. And I basically have these tiny little black ones with the orange belly, hard to see,
Yeah.
hundreds, thousands, and the ones with a little house, the snails. So there's a bucket with a lid with holes in it, and I put them all in, and every other day I go over to the farm and feed the ducks, and they have a ball. I hate to kill creatures, I just don't want to do it. So I pick them all up and let the ducks do the dirty work.
So those slugs can be, the size of a pencil lead.
Oh
probably.
yeah,
They're
they're
pretty small.
tiny, they're really small. Then sometimes, let's see if there's somebody. Oh yeah, here they are. There they are. They're really small. And those, I don't know, I just can't get rid of them. They're little small guys with an orange belly. And if you take cantaloupe or grapefruit, the shell, put them upside down, they all gather underneath, and you just pick them up. Yeah, they like to sit there.
So you've got a nice arrangement of lettuce here.
Yeah, I start my lettuce about in January in a dish in my greenhouse. And when they're about that big, I transplant them in larger pots or flats, lots of them. And I keep them in the greenhouse, and I eat salad from March on. I take one leaf of each plant and have about 40 plants in there. And then I have a lot of salad very early, and then later I plant them outside, of course.
And are these two varieties?
There are
three?
four varieties. Greenhead, redhead, curly, and oak leaf. These are my four, and I keep the seeds every year. I have millions of seeds. If everybody needs lettuce seeds, let me know. I have lots and lots. Actually, I share every year at the Seedy Saturday.
You bother, well, I guess maybe you do. You bother screening them. I just usually keep the fuzz on them and toss them on the ground.
No, what I do, well, one of each variety I let go into bloom. They're over here, some of them separate, so I let them bloom. And then when they're blooming, I just take the whole thing with scissors, cut it off, put it in a paper bag, and dry them, and then just shake them out, blow all the fuss off, and keep the seeds.
Oh, that's easy enough.
Yeah, it's easy enough. No big deal. Yeah, and
I was really lazy. I just let them go to seed there, and next year some more.
Oh
come
no,
up.
because I want to eat lettuce much earlier.
Oh, okay.
I seed them, and and then I also can give plants away, because of course Fortune supply the whole neighborhood with lettuce plants, which is nice.
At least you're not coming with zucchini and they're closing the door,
Well,
locking
that's
the door.
the same thing. Yeah. Well, I have only one plant now, because otherwise, gosh, nobody wants zucchini anymore, because everybody has so many. But yeah, I like to eat them when they're young, just like a cucumber, just like that.
So you're also growing beans here.
Yeah, pole beans. I have 4 different kinds of pole beans. Again, all heirlooms. One is, of course, the scarlet runner. And one is the purple one, dark purple, very delicious. One is pinto. Pinto is so pretty. Nice pattern. And then this is the Polish. Well, we call it Polish because friends years and years ago had brought them from Poland, the seeds. And that lady said her grandmother had grown them for 50 years or so. It's a over 100-year-old variety. And they're absolutely, that's my favorite bean. They are very tender, even when the pods get bigger. They're like butter. You need to cook them maybe only 3 minutes. They're so tender and sweet, wonderful. It's the best. It's my favorite. And I think they're called mamos, because the Le Coteau nursery, he knew them, and Jacques, he said, yeah, they're called mamos. So, but I call them my Polish beans. Polish poles. Yeah, they're good.
And they go up all the way to the height there.
They go all the way up.
I guess they fill the whole thing.
Yes.
Well, we'll come back when they're in,
doing
their thing too, so
yes,
we see the difference.
Yeah. Last year I kept one big beetroot. I mean, I keep my beets over winter in my little root cellar, and one had nice new shoots, so I replanted it, and it started blooming, and I wanted to see if these seeds are alive or what. I didn't know because most of these are hybrids. And I just let it sit there and had lots of little blooms. And then I took it out. And this year, the whole bed is full of new beets. They're all coming up. So it must have worked.
Yeah.
So actually, you can really keep seeds from your beets. The second year, they will bloom like carrots. And I found a carrot, an heirloom carrot, that I can keep seeds from now. It's called Rodelica. And I found a company in Quebec who has the seeds. It's quite rare because it's not grown commercially, because it's not uniform. It has all kinds of different shapes. So they don't grow it for commercial use because they're not pretty enough. But they're very delicious. It's a very good carrot.
Is that in the farthest bed there?
That's the one in the, no, in the pot. See, I repotted them.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to bloom this year. They're last year's.
And you just leave them in pots, or can you plant them out too?
Well, I overwintered them in my root cellar. And then in early spring I replanted them. And they will form flowers now this year.
Yeah.
And I tried this with other carrots 1 year before. And yes, they did flower, and yes, they did produce seeds. But they went back to the Queen Anne's. They got back to the wild carrot. They got white. So because they're all hybrids. But this is not a hybrid. It's an heirloom, one of the few. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I want to keep my own seeds because nowadays these gangster companies are destroying all the seeds and force you to buy seeds every year.
Well, you know what bothers me too is I go to buy squash seeds and you pay $3 for about 10 seeds. And I'm thinking, holy smokes,
I know.
This is a big business.
It's the one thing with the sun gold tomato, which is really the best flavored tomato ever. But it's a hybrid, and you've got to buy seeds every year. Or you take cuttings, which I now do, and that works. But
Tomato
15
cuttings.
seeds are $5. I mean, come on, really. Yeah. But from cuttings, I mean, tomatoes and these guys.
So I've never heard of cuttings. So
You just take.
Yeah, I know what cuttings are, but for tomatoes, I've never heard.
Yeah,
of
you just take one of these things out that come in the axle. You know, the ones that you normally prune off on tomatoes, and they have it too. I mean, just one of these, and stick it in, and they sit like this for a week, and then they slowly come up. They root, and that's it. Easy.
Don't even have to use rooting powder or
No,
anything
I don't.
like that?
No. And it works fine. And of course, if you want to do this, you need a greenhouse or a place to keep the plants over winter, the little ones, so they can grow. And then in spring you have a kickstart. It's wonderful. It really works. But even now, I got 3 cuttings from the Santoyo farm. He gave me some cuttings from his sun gold. Thank you very much. And they're all 3 rooted. And now, even when the plant is growing, I still can take one out and replant it, and it will still be good enough if you do it in early spring. So I can even multiply this one now.
Wow.
So it's really good.
Do you also grow peppers?
Yes, I do.
And I know you can keep those perennially. But
Oh, I have. Yeah, I know. I haven't done that. I reseed every year. I haven't done that yet because my greenhouse is too small. I don't have enough room to do all these things.
I tried an experiment this year. I kept them in pots through the summer, put them inside under lights over winter, and now I planted them in the ground, and they're leaves and flowering now. So maybe I'll get a jump start that way. But,
That's a good idea.
I'll just leave them in the ground in the greenhouse from now on and see what
Well,
happens.
my greenhouse has no ground. It just has pots.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
But except one little area. Well, this is my greenhouse where I grow things over winter. I don't have a heat in, but I have a fan heater in just to keep the frost out, and a red light just in case it gets really cold. So it's not really heated, but it's not too cold.
It's above freezing anyway.
Yeah. But my big greenhouse in the front now, I don't know yet. I think it might be too expensive to heat it. I have hydro in there, but I probably we'll just put Christmas lights on my Christmas tree, and that should be it.
Yeah, we might be able to get a few months in the spring and a few months in the fall
Well, it gets,
heating.
of course, the season
too
gets
bad.
longer because it's sheltered. Everything has a bigger, longer season in there. It helps definitely, even if it's not heated, but it makes a difference.
Well, that's quite the red rhodo you got over there. That's huge.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous plant. And I have neglected it. I haven't fed it last year, and it's still going strong. It's really good.
You have to deadhead that one too after. You have to deadhead it after the.
Yeah. Oh yes, definitely. Yes.
That's a lot of work.
And have you seen my water system?
Nope.
My rainwater system?
Nope.
Oh, you've got to see that. Another easy thing to do, which everybody can do. I have to eat it in asparagus. So good. It's a bit messy in here, but
Okay, let's see.
my rainwater goes. Oh, there's my teapot. Huh, I was looking for it. I have this little sleeve here, so the rainwater goes either into the drain or into the barrel. And I have 5 barrels and 5 more behind my house, so I have always 2,000 liters of rainwater sitting.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's a good one, because you never know. And sometimes comes handy.
Yeah, I put in 6,000 gallons of rainwater and
Wow.
to water my whole garden, and that.
Yeah.
As long as we don't have a severe drought, that'll do it. But or
Well,
rain,
I mean,
rain in July.
basically when I mix my potions for my, fertilizing stuff, and I always use rainwater without chlorine. It's better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this one, unfortunately, I didn't design it properly. Should have done differently. They should be all the same height and connected on the bottom. So it would always be the same level, because now those I have to pump out because I can't get to them. This has a tap, but the others need to be pumped out, which is not so good.
Yeah.
But
Well, maybe when they're empty, you could lift them up.
well, it would have to be a totally new structure, and I'm thinking about it. Because it has to be high, because I have to get a bucket underneath the tap. And then all the barrels have to get new holes and be connected on the bottom, not on the top. So then they would always have the same level. But I mean,
And those are plastic buckets, aren't they, or metal?
no, they're plastic.
Oh, so they'll be easy to cut into.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, we cut that one in there, and so this wasn't too complicated. But it was not good thinking. I thought, oh yeah, it runs from one into the next, it's just fine. But then I thought, oh gosh, I have to pump them out. It's not so good. But at least the water is there just in case. And it's a good feeling. And I actually have 11 of those, and those are 50 gallon, 11 of those, so it's quite a bit of water. No, not so bad.
Yeah, and you probably have never run out either, have you? I don't know how much you use it, but...
Well, I mean, honestly, I normally just use the ones with a tap. I have or the 3 with a tap, and the others I just let them sit in case.
Yeah.
And 1 year I needed them. 1 year we had this terrible drought and we weren't allowed to water. Then I used it all up. But
well, last year was pretty much of a drought, but we did have rain in the middle of the
yeah,
summer.
no, it wasn't too bad. It was okay. But yeah, but I mean, it's one of these things, in Germany where I come from, everybody has a cistern. Everybody collects rainwater. It's a normal thing to do. And we just don't do it here because we have so much water, but maybe not forever. We might want to look into this. And I mean, water is so precious, and people waste and waste and waste 10, 15 minutes under the shower every day. That's ridiculous. I mean, so much waste.
Yeah. Well, where I live, we're all on wells, and some of the people, let's say maybe half of them have cisterns under their house.
Yeah.
So that's why I collect rainwater in the tanks. But
Yeah, but we are so spoiled with all our supplies that we get. But I mean, it gets more and more expensive anyway, so it might be a good idea to collect some of your own. And
well,
if I was 20 years younger, I would put solar systems in because I would love to get off the grid and be independent. But of course, at my age, I can't do that anymore. It's not worth it. But this is another thing. I mean, I'm here 26 years now, but even back then in Germany, all the new houses on the outskirts, everybody has solar panels on their roof. Everybody. Everybody has. It's totally normal. And I was surprised I didn't see any here when I came.
Is that for hot water or electricity?
Oh, it's electricity, yeah, and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, almost every house has solar panels. And that was almost 30 years ago. So they're quite a bit ahead of us.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Yeah, well, eventually it will come because it might be a necessity one of these days. Who knows?
Not to change the subject too much, but those look like artichokes coming up there.
Yeah, and I just am very, very sad because most of them died this winter. Only 3 are alive.
Yeah, mine did too.
Oh gosh, this is the second time I lost them in 20 years. The winter was too cold.
Mine were about 4 feet high.
Oh, mine too.
And when then that cold and snow hit, killed them right off.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter when the leaves break down. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Once the rootstock is alive, they'll come back. But this winter we had permanent frost for a while, and even with thick mulch, the roots got frozen, and that's the problem. And those look absolutely no sign of life. I looked and looked. It's only these 3.
Yeah.
The others are just nothing. Well, I'm still waiting, not giving up hope yet. But hey, who knows? And let me see. Ooh, yeah, it is alive.
Oh,
there's something coming. Ooh, good girl. There's something coming. Oh yeah. So that one is alive.
Well, did you have that mulch on the ground too over the winter?
Oh, I had it really first with manure and then with leaf mulch. I had it really covered well.
You did more than I did, then. So maybe you'll be more successful.
But, well, okay, that makes it 4. Well, maybe when I'm patient, who knows? But there's no sign of life in this one. Nah. Yeah, have to divide and replant. What can you do?
Oh, they take well to dividing, slice them with a shovel.
Oh, yeah. Well, last year, actually, I planted 3 more from seeds, and they did well. But I have only the green globe, which makes really nice big ones. I had about 40 last year from this bed. Whew, wonderful.
That's a lot of artichokes.
Oh, yeah, I love artichokes.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh, see, my kohlrabi are very small still, but they're coming. Yeah. You had the super schmelz. Yeah, I have to try that again because that's such a good one. Goes through the winter.
Yeah, I've got one going to seed that's all yellow. I'll save the seed for you if you
Yeah,
like.
please do. But this one, I didn't grow kohlrabi for 5 years or so, and I found these old seed packages in my box. Oh, they're probably dead, and I put them all in. They all came up after 5 years. I mean, woo! So I had to plant them. But the other problem is I got clubroot in some of the beds, and there's nothing I can do about it. I mean, they still grow, but not so good.
What does it do to the plant? And
Well,
you have to dig it up and look at it?
But it takes too much out of them. Somehow
So it attacks the root and...
Well, it makes big clumps on the roots, and probably takes too much nutrients out of. I don't know how it really works, but once you have it in your soil, that's it. And the fungus and yeah, unfortunately, I think this one is still clean, but I definitely got it in that one, and in the next one, and I think in all those 3. So
now all these beds are in direct contact with the soil below.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because I've been putting plastic between the soil below so I don't get some bad weeds like bindweed coming up.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, when I started, there was nothing here. I got a plow in and had it all plowed and taking all the roots and stuff out. And then I got a big load of topsoil delivered and made this. But I'm still, after 22 years, I'm still improving the soil, because if I dig deeper, it's still clay.
Yeah.
Where you sit on clay, it's just, oh. And especially when I plant my potatoes, which I do very deep, about that deep, because I don't have enough room to hill them. So I need a lot of potatoes, so I plant them that deep, big hole, and fill them in. And then once they come up, fill it. So then I don't have to hill them, and I get far more into that little strip there. But when I dig so deep, there's just clay down there. It's awful. And I mean, I just put a handful of peat moss in the plant hole, and a handful of pine needles, chopped pine needles, that prevents the scab coming in. And then I just, but it's down there, it's hard. It's really, really solid clay. Even after so many years and improving with compost and manure and you name it, still. Yeah, well, that's the peninsula. What can you do? That's why I lost most of my raspberries of root rot. And now I took half them out and put blueberries in. They like wet feet. For them, it's okay. In winter, our water table is really high here, really high. So, but so far so good this year. Everything looks okay. It was a bit of a slow start, but now it's coming nicely. And the potatoes looking good. The grapes are coming. I have native grapes that don't get disease. It's Niagara and Steuben, and they both have resistance for all this stuff that other grapes get. They have lots of seeds though, but they're delicious. And I mostly juice them, bottle the juice. And one year I made wine, it was really good. But I don't drink alcohol, so what's the point? Yeah, they have a rather slow start this year.
So when you pruned, you left the one trailer, one or two stems.
Yeah, well,
and cut off all the rest.
I actually get help from Gary to prune, because I still don't know what I'm doing. But important is that they're not longer than 6 feet, because then they won't ripen so well. It takes too long. So, but in a few months, this is just one green wall, and during summer I have to prune at least 3 times, because they overgrow you. It's just unbelievable. And every year when Gary prunes my grapes, do you want to watch or rather not? I say, no, rather not. It kills my heart when I watch you cutting it all off. But it works. I mean, it's wonderful.
So you prune them in the summer so the sun can get to the grapes as well?
Well, because they make these long shoots, and I mean, they're useless. After they have formed fruit, the tip comes off.
Oh, I see.
About 2 leaves after the last fruit, tip can go.
Oh, I'll do that, because mine just get
Oh yeah, no, it puts all the strength into the new shoots and not in the fruit. So when the fruit has set, then it continues growing. And if you leave 2 leaves and then cut it off, and that's better.
Okay, well, I'm sure the raccoon will appreciate it then.
Well, you know, the first year when I didn't have my fence, I left the blue ones. I wanted to get them really nice and blue. I said, okay, tomorrow. There was no tomorrow.
Yeah, I've heard
all
that
gone.
so often. Happened to me
all
too.
Gone. They didn't take the green ones, but boy, they took the blue ones. Yep.
Yeah, so they don't bother you anymore here?
No, not now, because now my garden is fenced in totally.
But I thought they could crawl up anything.
No, I fenced it in to keep my cats in and the raccoons out. See, I have this wire this way, and my cats cannot jump up, and the raccoons don't want to go over. No, somehow they don't like that. And we don't have many here. It's just one that lives over there somewhere, but so far so good. I mean, But yeah, I had to fence my backyard in because I wanted my cats to stay home. Because 2 had been killed on the road, and I don't want to take any chances. And I also don't want them to poop in other people's gardens, and vice versa, which my neighbor's cat all do in the front yard, but backyard is clean now. I mean, it's not so funny to dig in cat poop when you have your vegetables there. No, not really. So I fenced them all in, cost me a fortune, but it works. And I had these metal gates, and strangely enough, they look through, but they cannot understand why they can't walk through. And they never got the idea they can't really climb on this wire. So, of course, on wood they could, and that's why I've got my invention here can't jump up. And in fall I can put my netting over for the grapes. I just put it on with clothes pegs and have the netting in front.
So have you lived here 22 years?
Yeah. I was 4 years on Lens End Road, and then I moved here because when they started building the ferry terminal, they built the overpass in my front yard and the parking lot in my backyard. Thank you very much. I lost $50,000 on that house.
Well, you have more sun here than maybe you have there.
No, it was a very sunny spot. It was very good on Lens End, actually. But that ferry terminal, bad. Yeah. So this is, and it was too big, it was 3/4 of an acre, and a little bit much. So here it's just cozy and nice. Just the right size. And it feeds me all year round. I mean, it's wonderful, really. But I mean, on the other hand, still I always said my front yard is for the soul and my backyard is for the body. But now I have also some body stuff in the front yard because I want to get more food, more edibles, you know. And so now I have a Goji Berry and the beans and the cabbage. Now I get the lemon tree. Well, in winter I take the bees, the whole thing out, and they open easily, so I put all the cocoons in a bucket with lukewarm water, and then clean the house out and wash the cocoons. They're full of mites, thousands of mites. You actually wash them twice, and then I put them on paper towel to dry.
What do you wash them with?
Just water. Some people use bleach, but I don't really want to use bleach. I just wash them in lukewarm water, so the little mites all come off, they float, and then it's just a total mess.
How big are they? Really teeny little things?
The tiny, it's like a dust almost, just like a yellow dust. And then I dry them on a paper towel and put them in a little box, close it and have a hole in here. And the box goes in the fridge over winter or in the cool garage. And then in early spring, I put the box outside and they hatch, and then they have the new clean house and they start filling it up already. Now it's May, so it's almost full. And these are all the empty cocoons. Some of them are still full. They probably died from whatever, but most of them are empty. And this can be thrown away now. And so now the bees are busy filling their new holes, laying their new eggs.
And what do you do with that nest every year? Do you have to clean it out, or?
I wash it. Yeah, I wash it with a brush, and it's wonderful material.
A brush to go inside the.
No, it opens. It's layers. It's open.
Oh.
They open up.
Oh yeah.
See, each and on one has a gap here. See, they're all separate pieces. You just take them apart and carefully take the cocoons out. These are the best. They're so easy care and easy to clean. And with the wooden ones, I had wooden ones first, but it's a little bit more tricky because the wood is more rough and it's harder to clean and the mites stick in it. So this is just with a toothbrush, you just clean these things out. It's really easy.
That's why some people use straws, I guess.
Yes, well, and then you throw them away and take new ones, because once they're not clean, the mites are really a problem. They really kill a lot of bees, and so I don't know how nature normally handles this. But here we seem to have extremely amount of mites, so I rather help them out a little.
Yeah. Yeah. So how long have they increased in numbers, or?
Oh yeah, this year, I mean, last 2 years ago, I had very, very few, only 5 or 6 holes filled. I don't know where they all went. And then I even bought some new cocoons. But this year I had, over 100. It was really quite good.
Took out of the nest there?
Well, in each hole are about 8 to 10 cocoons.
Oh, really?
They fill them into the, start in the bottom, make a little wall, the next one, little wall, mud wall. It's quite amazing. It's, when you open it, it's quite a structure. It's a work of art. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so these are the mason bees.
Yeah, the blue ones, pretty. Yeah, so that's it. And they did a good job on my peach tree. Mind you, this peach tree is an Arctic peach, and it always, in February, it thinks it's summer and starts blooming, and there's no bee. And every year I go with my little brush and do it myself, but then the mason bees comes out, and then they do the rest. So that's okay. But just in case, I take my little brush, because, you know, February, it's no bees out there yet. And this silly thing, I don't, every year it does the same. I think, wait, it's too early. No, February, end of February, he wants to, yeah. I mean, Arctic peach, I didn't know better when I bought it. I said, oh, it sounds interesting. It can tolerate 30 below. I said, well, we don't get that here. This is wrong. No, but yeah, it's somehow used to cold temperatures, and when it warms up just a little, it thinks, oh, it's summertime, got to bloom. It's kind of funny.
So you have to pollinate that with a brush?
Yeah.
You say, and that's in the morning, I guess? You have a little...
Well, I have a tiny little paintbrush, which I use for my painting, my artwork normally. And I just go from one to the next. And yeah. But this year it looks pretty good. They all have set fruit, so last year I had quite a few also, so it's fine. It's on the wrong spot here. It always wants to come out towards the sun, and then what sticks out gets leaf curled, so I have to pick all these leaves off. But now it seems to be clean. It's okay.
And there's nothing you do in the winter to combat leaf curl?
No, nothing. I mean, there's one thing one can do. I've done that in my other house. I had a nectarine tree which had leaf curl, but this was an area nothing else grew there, and I just planted it full of garlic, and that seems to help. But here there's not enough room to do this. But if you plant garlic and let it go wild, it seems to somehow protect the tree from leaf curl a little. Yeah, it really worked quite well. So
okay, well, let's go in the back and see what else is happening.
Oh, a lot is happening, yeah. Yeah, this is my herb bed, and in between now and then there's somebody else in there, but
little kale.
Planted the new kales, but I think they're too close together. I might have to separate it a little. And this is a very good one. This is the mustard green, very spicy.
Oh yeah.
Very nice.
I have that coming up wild. Not quite the same leaf though. It's different.
No, this is really a good one.
Color.
And thyme and what's
Sage.
it called?
Sage.
Sage, yeah.
Variegated.
Tarragon.
Oh, that's doing really well.
And that's oregano, Korean one. It's another sage, purple one. Lemon balm. And I lost my lemon verbena this year. It's gone. Oh, it's the third time I lost. It's not quite hardy, and this winter did it in.
I have to take mine indoors over there.
What a shame. Yeah, I have to get a new one. I hope I find one. They're hard to find.
You can't grow them from cuttings?
No, I tried everything. It never worked. And yeah, and this is winter savory, and that's chocolate mint. Yeah, that's another.
Corral so it doesn't go away. In fact, all the mints.
Another but they still got out underneath. They come out anyway.
Yeah.
And just transplanted another rosemary for a friend. Had it rooted. And I don't know what happened to my caraway. They seem to have died. There's something wrong. Because I like to grow my own spices. And of course lovage, which you can't cook without. Important.
Oh, yeah, I used to have one of those.
And I have to divide it again. Gee, it's got so
I
big.
like celery a little better though.
Yeah, it's very strong in flavor. But I love it. And this year I tried the first time the European long white radish. So we'll see how that goes. They're looking quite good.
Yeah, I
See, that's coming already. Never tried those before. Let's see.
Do you buy from a European company your seeds, or
no,
get them
I
from
found
friends?
them here. Yeah. West Coast Seed has a lot of interesting things. And those are my leeks. See how they do. And yeah.
Well, these boards are mostly fir, I guess, not cedar, that you built most of your...
I can't remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is coming apart now. It's getting really old. I have to open my door here. Yeah, this is where I overwinter my things in here. But it's all a bit messy.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave the camera over there then.
And 3 years ago, I lost my keep. You wouldn't believe this. In August, one August morning, full moon, I look out of my window and I almost fainted. The whole, I mean, in August, they are long and big and full of fruit. The whole trellis, all 5 posts had broken. The whole thing was standing upright, the leaves up to the roof, up over there, the whole part. Oh my God. All 5 posts broken at the same time.
From what?
It was rotten, old, and windy and very heavy. And so, uprooted them, and thing was standing up here like that. And I said, now what? And it was full moon, and you never prune on full moon. This is the worst thing to do. But I had to do it. I said, sorry, guy, I've got to cut this all off. And I left it standing because the roots are shallow, and they don't, it was still in the ground. They were out, but still in. So I said, I'll leave it. It was loaded with fruit. And I said, maybe I get them ripe this way somehow. In August, I mean. They're big, but there's nothing. So I waited, and I pruned it, and I apologized. I said, sorry, but I have to do it. And it was okay. I said, don't worry, I'll do it. We are weeds, we don't die. Okay, and I let it standing there. It was just a stupid sight, but hey. And come November, then you watch the temperature. 3, 4, maximum 4 below they can tolerate, but not more. And then they said we will have 7 or 8 below. I said, gotta pick my kiwis. Picked my kiwis was too early. It was only beginning of early November. And so I picked them. I said, well, maybe. Had 800 beautiful kiwis. Well, guess what? In January, I dumped them all on the compost. They were totally unripe, brown inside, impossible. 800 kiwis on the compost. Broke my heart. Oh, God. Oh, God. Then I had to cut every branch off because these things weigh a ton. And I wanted to straighten them out again. I had to rebuild the posts and cut them completely off. Just the big trunks left, because otherwise you couldn't have managed them. And I waited till the next year. Of course, I had to make new branches. And I had 1 kiwi. But last year I had already almost 500. So they recovered fast. It's their weeds, I mean.
Is the metal around there to keep raccoons or anything?
No, that was because my cats would jump up there and use it as a stepladder over the fence. And since I didn't want them to do this, I prevented them from climbing up there. Well, now I have only one, and he's so old he can't climb anymore, but it's still there, and maybe I can take it off by now.
Well, unless you get another cat.
Well, I will, but probably not a baby cat. It's not fair. I wouldn't take a kitten that will outlive me. I give an older cat a home. There's so many old ones that need a home. I can't live without cat. Need a cat. But yeah, it's just. But this is the male, and those are the females. And it's just amazing. They could be covering the whole patio if I had room and could let them go the right way. I know the Schultzes on Bear Hill, they have only 2 females and 1 male. And the one year they had 3,600 kiwi from these 2 plants.
Wow.
My best year was 1,600 because I have to keep them short.
That's another thing they charge a lot for in the stores.
I know. Well, when I had so many, I always had around 1,000, even more. And I always sold about 50, 60 pounds. Cheap. Far too cheap, but hey. Now, I mean, back then they weren't so expensive, but now, oh, very expensive.
Are those the beginnings of fruit there?
That's the flower buds. And they normally bloom in June. Yeah, June. The male, unfortunately, always blooms a little bit earlier, and sometimes I have to talk to it seriously and say, wait a little, the girls aren't ready yet. But then if it's raining in June and the bees don't fly, then I pick my male flowers and touch the girls. 1 flower for 7, 1 boy for 7 girls. But eventually then some insects over noon and so. But when it rains, one year we had rain all the time when they were blooming. Gee, I had to do it myself. There was no other way. Yeah, this is funny. Bees don't go on kiwis. It's bumblebees and all kind of other critters, but bees don't go. I don't know. Or no.
What about the mason bees?
No.
They don't either.
No. Oh, the mason bees are done by June. They are already in their boxes. But yeah, it's strange. I always wondered why bees don't go on kiwi. Yeah. But I always leave some plants for bees, like my leeks. I always let 2 or 3 leeks bloom because they love the leek flowers. Oh, it's just all over it. And then, of course, some of the herbs and stuff, they are good for bees. And this year there are all the yellow tomatoes in this one. Orange and yellow. This is my old windows. I used them. I made a little tomato house from my old windows. Not dumping anything. Everything is recycled. And I built it myself. I was quite proud of myself. I mean, it's not perfect, but hey, it works. It's pretty good. And I do the same thing, hang them on strings.
And by yellow tomatoes, you mean the little ones?
No, this is the sun gold. It's a very, very good one.
Oh, those are medium sized then.
No, they are about cherry size.
Well,
cherry.
yeah.
Sun gold. And then those are Indian moon. They are a large yellow, about that big, yellow, very nice. And those are Galena. Galena is, must be a Russian tomato, I don't know. It's yellow, but it's a large yellow cherry. And it has a different leaf, has a potato leaf. You can see that. Not a tomato leaf, but a potato leaf, yeah. And it's a very, very delicious yellow, big yellow cherry, very nice. And they're all, except the sun gold, the others are all heirlooms, so I keep my seeds. And last year I had a sun gold in the corner, and some dropped, and there are some plants coming up now, and I leave it to see what comes out of it, because they normally go back to one parent. They probably be red or whatever, I don't know, but I want to try.
Yeah, see what happens.
I mean, they do come, but not as sun gold anymore.
Well, I heard of a story of a woman who was growing squash, and they interbred. And
oh, I had that happen too.
She had a new one that she could name, you know. Even.
Well, I had the funniest things. I had some were half green, half yellow. Some had stripes. I mean, unbelievable how they cross-pollinated. I mean, they all tasted good, but they looked so strange, but beautiful actually. Yeah.
When you save seeds, for instance, I had Roma tomatoes last year, and one of the plants had really big tomatoes on it, so I saved those seeds.
I do that too.
So yeah, so you pick the parents carefully.
I pick always seeds from the best, and from the first if I can.
The earliest one.
The earliest one, yeah. And then I just take all my seeds and stick them on a paper towel, wet as they are, with that little gunk around, and dry it and fold it up, paper bag, plastic bag, sealed. And then when I plant, I just cut a little piece of paper out and plant it. Well, I pre-sprout all my seeds before I plant them. When they have a tail, I plant them.
All of the seeds, or just the tomatoes?
Tomatoes, beans, peas, not the tiny ones like lettuce and carrots, but I even do the beets. Beet seeds are rather big. I pre-sprout them, because then I know they're alive when they have a tail. Not every seed is alive. So especially by beans and peas, I want to make sure they are not in vain. So I only plant them when they have a little tail.
Yeah, but you have to be very careful and keep them watered at that stage.
Well, I keep them on a wet paper towel, a thick wet paper towel. Put the seeds on, make it wet, put it in a plastic envelope, seal it, and put it on top of the fridge.
I mean, when you put it in the ground,
well,
then
they are already.
You better be careful it doesn't dry out, don't you?
No, I mean the soil is moist in early spring anyway. Yeah, but pre-sprouting is all the tomatoes. Even the Cape gooseberries, they are so small. These seeds, tiny. But even those I pre-sprout. But now, I mean, I don't. Well, I have some from seeds just in case. But I normally do it from cuttings now, which is of course easier. But yeah, I find this is a good way to make sure you have everything alive that you put in. Yeah, so otherwise, I just noticed my olive is setting fruit. Yeah, I will get olives. It's setting fruit. Look, it's still very small. See? They're setting quite a few actually. Wow, that's exciting. These are the French Roma. They are a little larger than the normal Roma. They're very good for spaghetti sauce and stuff like that. So I hope. The only one that is not doing good at all is my bullheart. Hasn't even set any fruit yet. So I don't know. Too many leaves. I think it's too much nitrogen. But you always learn from mistakes. That's how it goes. But all they're doing good. And I mean, I'm quite excited about my early girl. That looks really nice. See?
Oh yeah.
It might.
You will have tomatoes pretty soon.
Pretty soon, I think so. Yeah. Well, it is called early girl for a reason. Normally, I don't really want to grow hybrids. I want to keep my own seeds, my own varieties. But I thought, well, once in a while, why not? And here it can climb up to the roof if it wants to. But it probably won't. But I need to paint the pot. I painted all my other pots white. And this is too hot here. It gets too hot, so I better paint it white. Might help. And my Goji Berry is growing like crazy. Oh my gosh. That's really taking off now. Look at that. It's all new shoots. And lots of new ones coming out here. Oh, there's another Cape gooseberry. I don't know how they get there. Must be in the compost. Got to save that one. Yeah, Goji is doing good, but it doesn't seem to. Oh yes, it does show. Oh, there are buds. Yeah, thereabouts, so I might get some goji berries. Oh, that's nice.